produced the greatest moment in Cougar Hoops history, with Danny Ainge going coast to coast against Notre Dame at the buzzer to send the Cougars to the Elite Eight. But strictly from a head-to-head perspective, if you played the game and just had these guys going 5-on-5, I like the 2020 squad in a close game.
See, when I look at this 2020 team, like I said, this team was built for this time of year. And I think big things were in front of this year's squad. Now, again, we're never going to know. But when you look at the way this team is built and the strengths that it brought to the court, when you look at teams that have success, BYU is built like that. They have scores all over the floor. It's not just one guy. They're not just reliant on one or two guys. They've got four guys legitimately that can hurt you, but they stretch the floor. They shoot the ball at an unbelievable clip. Those are the teams in these scenarios that have success. That's why in this scenario with this year's team, with the field they would have faced, I think big things were possible for this team. Unfortunately, they did not get the opportunity to prove it. That is what is so sad about this, is this team was so good, but we just will never know how good, because the opportunity to prove it was taken away from them.
Knowing what we know, and given the shortened season, this is a top 5 team for BYU basketball without
question.
Without question, probably top 3. Seriously. Like, I know the 1987-88 team that started 19-0 before losing to Alabama Birmingham, with Mike Smith, that team was awesome. This year's squad was special with Yoli Childs. They were something else. They only lost twice with Yoli in the lineup, and they were uber motivated to do something special in March. Yeah, the urgency was real. So a fun conversation. Unfortunately, we'll never know.
You know what? And another topic that's somewhat like that, in terms of, obviously, everybody has their own opinions and interpretations of certain things, which brings us to topic 2. Social media is a beautiful thing. Well, it can be, at least most of the time.
What?
Last night, and it's funny that the last time we were talking about something social media had to do with this person as well. Last night, the debate was going on as to who the top 5 quarterbacks in college football history were. Surprisingly, one of the names omitted the most was one Ty Hubert Detmer. He was not in most people's top 5. That was a little shocking to me, which begs the question, is Ty Detmer a top 5 quarterback in college football history, Spencer?
Yes, but I'm not surprised he was left off the list, because social media is driven largely by people that are not old enough to have any recollection of what Ty Detmer did in the unique context that he played in and how the game had evolved. Ty Detmer was the last non-Power 5 quarterback, non-Power 5 player for that matter, to win the Heisman Trophy. Do you know how ridiculously good you have to be to get the nation's attention at a non-Power 5 school? There's a reason it hasn't happened since Ty Detmer. His numbers were so outlandishly bonkers that they could not reward him. He received 55% of the vote that year. He beat out Rocket Ishmael from Notre Dame. And yes, the Power 5 Notre Dame, who was still in its glory heydays. Notre Dame won a national championship in 1988. Hey, Rocket Ishmael was the best player at the peak of Notre Dame football under Lou Holtz, and Ty Detmer was good enough to beat him in that Heisman Trophy race. His numbers were so good that as a non-Power 5 quarterback at Little Brigham Young University, he won the Heisman Trophy. It is remarkable that it set 60, how many? I think the number varies depending on when you look at it. I think it was everywhere from 59 to 63 to 71.
I saw 59.
Okay, 59 NCAA records in his career. That is wild. He absolutely belongs.
Yes, I 100% agree. The fact, look, and there's going to be some people, and again, depending on what criteria you bring into the conversation, if somebody has to have won a national championship for you to think that they're a top 5 quarterback, then that's what you're coming in with, and there's no way that anybody can argue against that. But that's not how I'm looking at this. Without question, Ty Detmer is one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time. for a lot of the reasons you mentioned. I think just being a Heisman Trophy winner immediately puts you in that conversation. Then you look at all of the insane numbers. You mentioned the 59 or varies over 60 NCAA records that he set and held on to for quite a while. It was not something like this. He held on to it for a year or two. We're talking a lot of these lasted for a very long time.
He finished third in the Heisman Trophy voting his senior season.
Yes, so he absolutely, and I'm not sure that BYU doesn't have two that you could make a case for in the top 5. And the other one I'm talking about is Jim McMahon.
Ooh.
Jim McMahon, you talk about 59 or 60 NCAA records. Jim McMahon set 70 and I'm not talking 70 NCAA records. And that was a time where BYU was changing how college football was played through the air. He set so many records. People had not seen that type of air attack. It's obviously in the College Football Hall of Fame. I think he finished in the top 3 in the Heisman at least twice.
I know he did once.
Yeah, so he's a guy I think you could argue to be in there as well. I have no problem with Tim Tebow being in the top 5.
Oh, man.
Like, Tim Tebow, to me, is hands down in the top 5. We had this debate. Some don't think that he belongs there. I think it's a no-brainer that Tim Tebow belongs in there. But in my opinion, absolutely Ty Detmer. And I think a case could be made that Jim McMahon belongs in the top 5.
Tim Tebow was responsible for, like, 100 touchdowns his Heisman Trophy year. Like, I exaggerate, but he's one of the greatest leaders in college football history. The speech he gave, the national championships, he belongs on the list. If I gave you the rest of my top 5, it'd probably go Marcus Mariota, Lamar Jackson, who I think is a better version of Johnny Manziel, and Doug Flutie, Jason. Little Doug Flutie.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Boston College. Context, right? In the ACC, against the powerhouses of Miami, and he did what he did at Boston College as like a 5'9" quarterback.
Real quick, here's my top 5. And you can poke holes in it. These are just the 5 I went with. Detmer, McMahon, Tebow, Vince Young, and I went with Davey O'Brien. The best quarterback award is named after Davey O'Brien. If the award is named after you, I think you deserve to be in the top 5.
Got to go all the way back to the 1930s for that. Holy cow. Our question of the day. We want you to chime in on this. Why or why isn't Ty Detmer worthy of a top 5 college football quarterback designation? Time to hear from you. Let's go to Voice of the Nation.
This is the Voice of the Nation on BYU Sports Nation.
At Latin Rob answers on Twitter. He is because he is.
It's very Mandalorian-like.
I have spoken. He is. I have spoken.
That is the way.
Fair enough.
We can't argue with logic like that. What are you going to do? You just don't argue with that.
The conversation ends there. He is because he is. All right. Good talk.
Yeah.
Good talk.
All right. We're going to go to break. Coming up, BYU Sports Nation Best Play Bracket rolling on. An upset, maybe?
And this is a great day for Jason Shepard because he's talking to a Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chief. Daniel Sorensen joins us live. This is BYU Sports Nation.
It's a flea flicker and a throw to Bushman. It's complete. Another touchdown! Fires quickly to his right. Picked off. Diving interception made. Zach throws. Caught on the goal line. Touchdown Cougars! Touchdown Cougars! Intercepted. Yes, it is. Isaiah Kafusi with a pick. And the Cougars again with a takeaway.
Son, my father gave this to me when I made the team, and now it's yours.
Oh no, Dad, I'm not on the team. I just got this at the store.
We're so excited. We just bought front row tickets for all of your games.
What?
They were expensive, but anything to support our boy.
Support me in what? I'm not on the team.
You should know. We paid for the tickets with your college fund.
Well, since you're on athletic scholarship now.
Gear so legit, they'll think you're on the team. BYU Store.
Man, this car is amazing. Look at that touchscreen. How about that confidence? Look how she handles those groceries. Positively effortless. The teenager is borrowing the car. This could get rough. But no, that's a reliable car and a win for Mom.
So you mentioned you want to finance with Deseret First Credit Union?
Definitely.
Mom's dream car is as close as Deseret First Credit Union. That's right. Get pre-approved online today or talk to your dealer. Your dreams at Deseret First Credit Union. That's right.
6 teenage comedians are about to get the opportunity of a lifetime. They'll learn important comedy skills and compete in epic challenges. All for a chance to land their very own TV comedy special and to perform with me, Wayne Brady. Can they make you laugh? Watch these kids go from baseline to headline on Wayne Brady's Comedy IQ.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, the official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Listen to BYU Sports Nation on demand by downloading the podcast. Just Google BYU Sports Nation podcast, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.
We're live in Studio B on a Friday. This is your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. Alongside Jason Shepard, I am Spencer Linton. We were having a very entertaining conversation about top 5 all-time college football quarterbacks based on Pro Football Focus asking the question, who's in the top 5 all-time? And not surprisingly, recency bias won out. So we saw a lot of Vince Young, Johnny Manziel, Lamar Jackson,
Matt Leinart.
Okay. I like Matt Leinart. I think he's a good broadcaster. I thought he was an outstanding quarterback at USC. But he had Lendell White and Reggie Bush and Dwayne Jarrett. Like, that team was the greatest team of all time. So I don't know that Leinart's numbers or what he did for his team compared to what some other quarterbacks did for their teams is as impressive. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Deshaun Watson showed up there. I was like,
It's recency bias. It's recency bias for that
not
question.
Surprisingly. Speaking of recency, Jason, the Kansas City Chiefs just won a Super Bowl in February. Doesn't it? Does it feel real?
I've watched the game at least 30 times. In fact, I watched the last 8 minutes again yesterday.
Of course you did. Yes, Daniel Sorensen, a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, joins us now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline to discuss Super Bowl celebration to sports shutdown. Danny, the last time the three of us talked together, we were in the locker room in Denver celebrating a Chiefs win over the Broncos. It's been a while, but how are you?
Doing great. Yeah, good to have you guys or talk with you guys today.
Obviously, Jason's very excited about the Super Bowl still, and he's watched it 30 times. How many times have you relived the game or rewatched the game?
I actually haven't watched the game.
Really?
Sorry,
do you not do that in general, or is just you've had other things to occupy your time since?
Yeah, like, I think whatever, the end of the game and last game of the season, I move on, right? Win or lose, this time gladly we won the Super Bowl, but it was great and everything, but it was time to move on to the off season and, into that stage of my life.
Danny, don't worry. I have watched it enough for the both of us. Trust me. I have literally watched it 30 times at least. So I've got us both covered.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Jason's also sent notes to your coaches, so beware of that.
No, I have not.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Danny, how has your life changed the most since winning a Super Bowl?
I don't think it's changed all that much. I think my attitude, obviously, it's better going into the off season, not ending your season on a loss. So it's been happy. It's been joyful. It's been an enjoyable off season. But yeah, other than that, I don't know if too much has changed.
What does it mean to the legacy of Andy Reid in Kansas City?
Everything. Unfortunately, I think everybody's kind of placed winning a Super Bowl on, how your legacy will be remembered. He's a great coach. Whether, we won that last Super Bowl or not, he's going to go down as one of the greatest coaches of all time. But for him to get that and, to be a part of that was something special.
I know that when you're in the middle of an NFL season, there's so much preparation. You're so laser focused on the task at hand. How much or how often do you and Coach Reid get to talk about BYU football? How often are the Cougars brought up between you two?
We're both pretty busy. I've got my film study and practice to work on. He's, obviously the head coach, and so He might walk by and give me a little, poke or something, or say, hey, did you see the game, or things like that. But yeah, I mean, he'll bring it up and we chat about it.
Daniel, you're obviously very busy, and when we were talking in the locker room in Denver, we were talking about life with 3 kids and being a traveling man in the NFL. How are you balancing all of that right now?
Doing our best. I think everybody's in the situation where you're home together as a family, which it's just great. Honestly, I get to spend a ton of time with the kids. No other distractions really. But yeah, it's definitely busy. It's a full-time gig. I understand now how challenging it is for my wife to do it all by herself during the season. She's gladly that I'm home with her now and can help out. But I'm learning the ins and outs of being a full-time parent.
What have you been occupying your time with? I see some of the Instagram videos in terms of working out and some things like that, but with all of us kind of doing our best to stay inside and the quarantine and everything, what are you doing to occupy your time?
Yeah, I try and still maintain some level of fitness. I've got a little basement gym that I've got some dumbbells and things to work out in, and but other than that, it's trying to do some school with the kids each day, so they're learning still. And then if there's nice weather, which we've had a fair share of, we get out. We get on walks. We ride our bikes. And we try and get out and enjoy the nice weather here. But no, it's a you have to plan for it every day. So,
Daniel Sorensen with us on BYU Sports Nation, Super Bowl champion, BYU football great, and now a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. Daniel, when you look at your future as a football player, how much longer do you want to keep doing this? Because we're seeing this trend of players that, they're not as keen to stick around for as long of a time based on just the traumatic injuries and how physical football is. So how long do you see yourself playing football?
As long as I still love it, and I'm still loving it right now, and so I'm going to keep doing it until that passion isn't there anymore. And I think you'll know. I don't know when that will be. I as of right now, I'd play as long as I could, right? Maybe until they kick you out. So maybe whichever comes first, whether somebody says you're done or whether you kind of lose that passion and find something else.
For BYU fans watching the NFL, it's gotten even more interesting. Obviously, you with the Chiefs and winning the Super Bowl, but Taysom with the Saints, and he's obviously going to get a nice contract this offseason. KVN now moving to Miami, signed a nice deal. Fred Warner with the Niners, a great young team. Jamal, others. What's it like to see so many former BYU Cougars playing prominent roles in the National Football League?
It's awesome. These are all guys that I played with. And it's fun to watch them succeed. I'll try and catch their highlights after a game, and if we're not playing them, if they're not on the other sideline, I'm rooting for them, cheering for them, and hoping that they're doing well.
What have you heard from the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL in terms of protocols and what they want you to do during this very, very unique time as you wait for what you hope is a normal start to the football season?
Yeah, I think a lot of that's still up in the air. I think, we'll kind of evaluate as things go on as far as, whether we'll have OTAs or some type of modified off season. But I think training's a big part of it, and I think it can be difficult to try and stay in shape, not having the same resources available. But I think, I think you try and take advantage of the opportunity to kind of just have a lot of family time, kind of decompress from the season. That's kind of what the off season's for. Get yourself mentally, physically, emotionally kind of recovered. And then when it does come time to get back to training, whether that's training camp, then you're ready to go. And then hopefully we can continue like a normal season.
We've had a lot of BYU coaches and players on in the last couple of weeks, and one of the things that we've asked them about was just communication. How much time do you spend contacting, if you're a coach, contacting your players and staying in touch? From the professional side of things, how much contact are you having with the Chiefs or with the NFL? How much communication is there between the two sides?
So in any typical off season, I don't know if there's a whole lot of communication. It's kind of, they have their time, players have their own time. But our, my coach, we've got a group chat with the defensive back group, and he checks in on us regularly and just kind of sends messages, kind of keep our spirits up and kind of let us know what's going on. But honestly, typically there's not a whole lot of communication. It's your time off, your time with your family, and then when we get back to work, that's when we get things going.
Daniel, I need to give you your due credit before we say goodbye to you, and that for showing up at another huge BYU basketball game and bringing the Dirty Dan karma to the Marriott Center for that win over Gonzaga. Right. When you show up, good things happen for BYU basketball. So can we try and make that happen a few more times next season?
Yeah, just get me some season tickets, maybe on the court side, and a bag of popcorn or whatever, and we'll call it a deal.
I'd love to get your take on that atmosphere. What'd you think about that senior night for BYU basketball?
Oh, it was unbelievable. And it was fun for me. I'm usually, a player, focused on the game. But for me, being a fan and a spectator, to experience an environment like that was really something special. It was awesome. Very comparable to any, NFL high-level, competition. It was a great atmosphere and a great win, and it was fun to be there with my family.
Yeah, and that means something coming from a guy who plays at Arrowhead Stadium, where the volume is next level. Daniel, it's great to talk to you. We appreciate catching up with you and wish safety and health to you and Whitney and your kids. And hopefully we're talking football soon and this whole thing calms down.
Okay. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
You got it. Daniel Sorensen on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.
Always nice to get a little Chiefs Kingdom on the BYU Sports Nation.
Super Bowl champion.
Super Bowl champion.
And he's so nonchalant. He's the most unassuming NFL notable. I mean, he's the guy that's making plays like Dirty Dan is legendary in Kansas City.
Look, he's one of the biggest reasons why they beat the Tennessee Titans. Or excuse me, no. Yeah, Tennessee Titans.
Correct.
I was going to say, I'm trying to remember which comeback, because we were down 10 and all of them and came back to win. I'm trying to remember which comeback on our way to the Super Bowl that was.
I love it. When you talk about the Chiefs, it's always we and our.
Look, that's what we do as fans.
I'm not faulting you. Yes. I get it. Enjoy it, man.
One day, your Cincinnati Bengals will, well, maybe not.
My Bengals.
They are your team, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I've never seen you in Bengals gear, ever. Do you own Bengals gear?
I do own some Bengals gear. Maybe I should wear some. Maybe I should bring some to BYU Sports Nation.
Here we go. Coming up, BYU Tennis's David Ball is giving a voice to other athletes to tell their stories.
Jason, the first upset in our BYU Sports Nation Best Play bracket. Watch out. This is BYU Sports Nation.
Yeah, you guys want to try flying with me?
Actually, we're doing guy stuff.
You don't have to be so mean about it.
We don't want you here.
Well, then, I'll just leave.
Wow.
My skates! They're ruined. Did you hear that?
One of our committee's most important rules is that you can't contact humans.
Living at Trio is not about retirement. It's about fun.
It was so different from everything we'd been taught to expect about senior living.
I was delighted when we came and they had these raised gardens.
Just love it here. I wish more people knew about Trio.
Learn more at btrio.com.
Welcome to a partnership where customer experience comes first. It's our focus. It's your expectation. We provide support to those that go the extra mile, for all of us. Supplying products, training, and service for generations. Learn more at BradyIndustries.com.
It's a big moment. Championship match. Fifth set, 14-15. Here's the serve.
In their hearts, your kids have always been champions. It's only a matter of unlocking their potential. So give them a place to dream. A place where, every day, they can shape themselves into what they can become.
A huge return. The star lays it down for a punishing kill.
Champions start here. Sport Court.
The BYUSN Best Play Bracket is presented by doTERRA.
The BYU Sports Nation airs Saturdays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on BYU Radio, and is on the podcast feed featuring the best conversations and interviews each week.
It is now time for a Friday edition of the BYU Sports Nation Best Play Bracket, presented by doTERRA. A reminder of how this works: our selection committee scoured all of the plays over the last athletic calendar year, found the top 8 from BYU football and BYU basketball, and are now having them go head-to-head in a 16-play bracket to figure out what is the best play of the season for BYU football or basketball.
Yeah, and each day we're going to present you with a matchup, and then your vote is going to decide the winner as we whittle down those 16 plays to the best play. So here's what you need to do. You need to go to vote.byutv.org and cast your vote each day. The polls will close at 11 a.m. Eastern time each day. Then we're going to announce the results during BYU Sports Nation, which is what we're going to do right now.
And wouldn't you know it, our first upset of the tournament. The 5th seed, Dax Milne, touchdown catch against USC on a beautiful throw from Zach Wilson, upsets the 4 seed Yoli Childs, and his emphatic dunk to seal the win against the Gonzaga Bulldogs. 61% of the vote goes to Milne over USC against Yoli's 39%, so a 5 seed moving on to the second round.
See, this was a matchup I was really interested in because in terms of just the play, if you're looking at just the play,
the touchdown catch.
The touchdown is a more remarkable play, but the meaning of the dunk from Yoli,
his last 2 points as a senior at BYU,
and it sealed the deal. You knew at that point BYU was winning the game against Gonzaga. I thought that may send it over the top. So I'm a little surprised that that's the way that played out.
All right, so in our first quadrant now, the Dax Milne touchdown catch against USC moves on to face Micah Simon's Rocky Top revival catch at Tennessee. Now for today's matchup.
All right, here we go. The number 1 hoops seed is TJ Haas hitting the 3-point game winner over the Gales.
Toulson 25 feet away, right side to TJ, left side, down to 10. TJ pull up 3. He got it! He got it!
Go threes!
TJ Haas scores it! Timeout!
The look on his face after that is fantastic.
It's the new St. Mary's face.
And what I remember about that shot is is jumping up and down in the booth when it went down. That's what I would remember.
You and Greg Wrubell, who was jumping up and down courtside with Mark Durant.
Yes, indeed.
All right, the Haas game winner against St. Mary's takes on the second of our Dax Milne plays in as many days. He is the football 8 seed as well. An incredible touchdown catch in Tampa against South Florida.
Play fake. Short drop for Jaron. Goes for the end zone, looking for Milne. Dax Milne, did he haunt him with one arm? He did for touchdown! Dax Milne with a great grab!
Love it. The one-handed catch.
Dax Milne making his impact in the best play bracket. Yeah, he's the baller, and he's coming back, Jason. It's good news.
Look,
he's back for a while.
Okay, so cast your vote going to vote.byutv.org. Again, vote.byutv.org. We're looking at this right now. Are we going to have another upset in the is this?
This would be a massive upset because TJ Haas and his game winner against St. Mary's is the #1 basketball seed.
I thought it was a foregone conclusion that was going to advance on, that Chalk just send it through.
It is bouncing between 51 and 49% back and forth. It is clear that the Milne family has made it a point to jimmer this poll and take it over. They've already secured one upset.
They've got the group chat sending it out, make sure everybody votes.
He's already in the Elite Eight once. Like, is that not enough?
Look, this would be a massive upset. And right now, and again, this is going to fluctuate by the second, literally. It's 52 to 46 in favor of TJ Haws now. But this is look, we could say right now that the race is too close to call at this point.
Vote.byutv.org. Haws, game winner against St. Mary's, the 1 seed, looking to avoid the monumental upset from Dax Milne at South Florida and a one-handed touchdown catch.
Coming up, would you rather, the quarantine edition? I'm intrigued.
And BYU senior tennis player David Ball on how he's giving athletes a voice amidst this pandemic. Very cool story. Don't miss it. This is BYU Sports Nation.
They say the best gift is a memory, a moment we love that we can't forget. When we say everything without saying anything. They are moments that you make together. And the memories last forever.
When BYU made such a difference in our lives, I think really helped mold us as to who we are. And so when we had that opportunity and came back to Boise and found out there was an active chapter, we thought, okay, that's something that I can really get behind and get involved in.
We want to promote the BYU experience all over the region. We want people who leave BYU to still stay connected.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, sweetie.
Check this out. Chicken wings. I love you.
Have a car wreck? Martin's Collision Repair.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martin's Collision Repair.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, the official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
You want to relive some of the great games from the past year or from years past? All you need to do is go to byutv.org or the BYU TV app, where you have access to the BYU TV library of games.
Welcome back to the show. Alongside Jason Shepard, I'm Spencer Linton, BYU Sports Nation on a Friday, and we welcome in via Skype on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline BYU tennis senior David Ball, who is doing some remarkable things right now. David, nice to have you on BYU Sports Nation.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, let's start here. You started an Instagram account last week called Untold Athletes that tells the stories of athletes around the country who had their seasons cut short. What made you decide to create this type of an outlet?
Yeah, just when the season ended for me personally with tennis, I was talking to a lot of the other athletes around BYU, and I was just thinking about, this is devastating. We have All-Americans, we have, walk-ons, we have people with so many great stories that without kind of their NCAA tournaments and whatnot, they're not going to get the recognition they deserve. But they might not get a chance to have their inspiring stories told. So as I kind of talked to other BYU athletes and also to my girlfriend Natalie Clark, who plays soccer at BYU, we thought, what if we tried to open this up and create a platform where we could share some of these stories? And people at BYU, a lot of our friends really, really liked the idea. So then we decided, what if we open this up nationwide, especially, and say, I'm sure if we've got this many athletes at BYU, I'm sure across the country there's even more. So why not share some inspiring sports stories, especially in kind of a tough, confusing time, while also giving recognition to some great athletes.
By the way, you well done, sir. Being able to work in giving Nat the shout out on BYU Sports Nation. Well done by you. That's going to pay off, I'm sure. So you're talking about these stories. What are some of the stories that have been submitted that have stood out to you? What are some of the ones? Give us an idea of some of the stories that you've heard.
Yeah, the cool thing is, we're getting such a range of stories submitted, and I think that's the best part. For me, we've got guys like Marcus Howard, who's a first-team All-American in basketball, a top NBA draft prospect, who's been able to share some of his thoughts on, on everything that's gone down. But then we also have stories from, one that I really liked amongst many was a water polo player, a girl named Lauren Baglietto, who lost her mom just weeks before this season, who lost her grandpa, wasn't going to come back to school, but it was basically her teammates that said, hey, come back, and they really helped her through this trial. And so it's able to kind of tell her story and show kind of that power of sports, really. So we've had a range of everything from top NBA, MLB draft prospects to D3 schools, people that are trying to walk on. So it's just these stories are unbelievable, and it's nice for me because I get to hear all of them.
Yeah, understandably, this is a very emotional thing for senior athletes specifically to go through when your season is so abruptly shut down and the athlete mentality is, okay, well, let's control what I can control. What's next? Well, there is no next for a lot of these seniors. So in your instance, David, how are you processing potentially not playing college tennis ever again?
Yeah, it's been just a weird time, and I think the project has allowed me and hopefully some other athletes a little bit of closure, especially for seniors, because for me, I've been playing tennis for 20 years, been at BYU for a long time, and so you kind of this isn't how you picture it ending. The other side of it is now all of a sudden I have all this time on my hands that I've never really had before. So I thought, hey, if I don't kind of do something and do something quickly, I'll go crazy. And so why not try and channel this passion towards athletics in this confusing time and try and create a platform. So it's definitely been just a really interesting time, and day to day, it doesn't, it feels a little off, but it's been a good learning experience.
So as a senior, then you haven't made any decisions on whether or not you're going to take advantage of an extra year of eligibility or not then, right?
Yeah, that's correct. You kind of go into your senior year, you're making, I was making plans post-graduation, kind of had my sights set on one last bang here, So with all this mix up, it kind of throws a wrench in the plans a little bit. But how could you not at least consider coming back to BYU Cougar Nation to use the fifth year? So for me, no plans have been made yet. That'll be a decision down the road.
BYU tennis senior David Ball with us on BYU Sports Nation. How can BYU fans and fans of sport all over the world, for that matter, find Untold Athletes and read these submissions? I think we lost David for the moment. Okay, we're going to get him back. We'll have him answer that question just as soon as we can, because I want to look more into this.
Like that, this is a fantastic idea because there are so many great stories out there, and to be able to have a platform like this to hear something, because look, we're focused on everything that's kind of going on in our sphere. You know what I mean? Just things that are happening here, but there's things happening all over the world, and for people, regardless of where you are, to be able to send in your story, you never know how your story may impact somebody else. And just having an outlet like this to be able to present it, that's an unbelievable opportunity that David's given these people.
Yes, it is cathartic to, one, be distracted from everything that's going on around us, which is why we're still doing BYU Sports Nation every day. And hopefully this is allowing people some type of stress release, at least for
and some normalcy.
Short moments of time. Yes, and to try and remain as normal as we possibly can in our routines. But it's cathartic to read other people's stories. And everybody's dealing with this. That's what's so wild, is it's It's worldwide. It is a global pandemic. And so everybody is dealing with it. And that's not usually the case.
Right.
Like when hard things happen, whether it's a natural disaster, this is global. Well, so everybody feels the impact.
Yeah, well, and even when you know that, a lot of times you still feel like you're alone, you're the only one dealing with it. And as you mentioned, being able to hear other people talk about it, it does give you a sense that maybe I'm not by myself in this. And so, and again, we did find out, if you want to read these stories and follow this, you can go on Instagram and follow Untold Athletes on Instagram.
Follow Untold Athletes on Instagram. Do it. You better believe I'm going to go read some of these submissions. And what a great guest. David is an extremely intelligent young man and obviously wants to do something more. And I have so much respect for that, for a project to be made and for him to be thinking something like that. That's amazing.
And well done. Whoever did the Easter egg tree in the background, well done. Nicely done. That was very impressive.
So again, our thanks to David Ball, who joined us on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.
Coming up, our Rise and Shout Out involves a long drive and barbecue. We will explain.
I can get on board for that.
Yes.
Plus, Would You Rather, a quarantine edition. Jason, you all about watching pro athletes play video games?
I'll tell you in a minute.
This is BYU Sports Nation.
In the timeline of life, you make choices every day, like buying your first car, what a beaut, or serving your mission. You come home and hop right into college. And then that magic day comes, marriage. Getting married is incredible and pricey. But you know what? Children are even pricier. Your family grows and you need that first home. No matter where you are in the timeline of life, Deseret First Credit Union is right there with you. DFCU, your values, your timeline, your financial future.
Living at Trio is not about retirement. It's about fun.
It was so different from everything we'd been taught to expect about senior living.
I was delighted when we came and they had these raised gardens.
Just love it here. I wish more people knew about Trio.
Learn more at btrio.com.
The show teaches failures and it teaches triumphs. Each athlete has to come out on the other side of their fears. We have athletes who are afraid of open water. We have others who are afraid of heights. They motor through somehow. You see the athletes, initially they're foes. Initially, they're adding up the points and they're seeing who wants to win. But you see them lifting each other up. They carry and they rally each other. And you didn't see that in the early episodes. And for me, it was an evolution of all their personalities to see them become a family in the end. At the end of the day, if you've done all that you could do, if you've tried your hardest, that is what anybody will care about. That is all that they will be talking about, is that you tried.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation on a Friday. The show available anytime on demand via the BYU TV and BYU radio apps. Especially grateful for that during our situation.
Absolutely. You can also download the podcast. Just Google BYU Sports Nation, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the program.
I took advantage of that yesterday. Had a day off, was taking care of some things at home, watched you and Jerem on demand. It's amazing.
Did you rate us?
I did not rate you, though. I probably should do that.
What would you have rated us?
That specific show or just you as people?
Why are you pausing? This should be like a no-brainer response.
I'm going to give it 3.9 stars.
What's up with the hesitation on this?
Oh, 5 stars, of course, Jason. Come on, man. Come on.
Look, you lost it because you paused, okay?
All right, with the salt currently in Studio B, an all-time high, let's play Would You Rather, Quarantine Edition. All right, Jason, you're up first.
I feel very strongly about this, so I'll let you answer first, though. Would you rather rewatch a classic game or watch a pro athlete simulate a game via a game console?
1,000,000% I would rather rewatch a classic game. I can't get into the whole video game watching pro athletes do this and like find true excitement.
Yeah.
And I find more excitement in watching things that actually happened in the moment.
Yeah, I am 100% with you. I do not understand the enjoyment of watching somebody else play a video game. I don't get it. I think it's a generational thing. I don't understand it. So yeah, 100% rewatch a classic game, which I did last night. I rewatched Game 3 of the '97 Finals between the Jazz and the Bulls.
Fantastic. I'm going to watch Greatest Moments in BYU football history with my son Jax this weekend. Okay, Jason, how about this?
Okay.
This is, and a lot of people are doing this right now, binge watching shows. Would you rather binge watch The Office or Friends?
Okay, I tweeted this out. Friends is not my favorite show, but I think Friends is better than The Office. I would go so far as to say that The Office is not even the best Office. The British version is better.
Jason.
Friends is better than The Office. Seinfeld's the best of all time. Friends is still better than The Office.
Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much about who you choose to be. To quote one of my favorite Office episodes.
Wow.
It's The Office, man.
No.
Come on.
Friends.
Our question of the day, why or why isn't Ty Detmer an all-time top 5 college football quarterback? Our elite voice of the day, presented by Sundance Mountain Resorts from Trenton Nelson on Instagram. He is, period, the end.
Nice.
Another one of those, I have spoken.
Very nice. Our rise and shout out goes to John Higley, who drove 9 hours to get some Bam Bam's barbecue last night.
The tweet, I just drove almost 9 hours
unbelievable.
to try some of this Bam Bam's barbecue I've been hearing about from the guys on BYU Sports Nation. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, Spencer Linton, Jerem Jordan, and Jason Shepard for introducing me to the food of the gods.
You are welcome.
Oh,
9 hours.
So
That's
good,
impressive.
John. Well done, man. We're glad we could help out. Our thanks to today's guests, Daniel Sorensen and David Ball.
Conversation continuing 24/7 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Use hashtag BYUSN.
For the Super Bowl champion, Jason Shepard, I'm Spencer Linton. Shout out to Micah Matsuzaki. See you Monday on BYU Sports Nation.
Hi.